So I would like to invite and welcome all of you to the first virtual annual meeting of the Bureau County Historical Society. All we want to do is to keep all of you safe at home. So that's why we're offering you this special edition of our annual meeting and the exclusive viewing of the earliest and most fragile of the Bill Lamb films, all offered to you by Zoom. We would like to begin our meeting with a call to order and the reading of the 2019 annual meeting minutes by the Bureau County Historical Society Secretary, Dana Fine.
Good evening, everybody. The meeting for the annual meeting of the Bureau County Historical Society is called to order. And I'm going to read the minutes from last year's meeting on November 6th, 2019. Bureau County Historical Society President Linda Gustafson welcomed 70 members and guests to the BCHS 2019 annual meeting and dinner held November 6th, 2019 at the Apollo Theater. Attendees each received an old-fashioned glass with the BCHS logo etched into it. Photos were taken by John McCutcheon of guests with a cardboard Bill Lamb cutout, and the photos were later posted to the BCHS Facebook page. Following a buffet of appetizers catered by 4 and 20 at Downtown Pub, members crossed the street to the Apollo Theater, and a business meeting and the election of officers and directors for the 2019-2020 term was held. President Gustafson called the meeting to order. The 2018 BCHS annual meeting minutes were read by Secretary Dana Fine.
I guess not.
Motion to approve the 2018 annual meeting minutes was made by Steve Bauslov and seconded by Marge Albright. Sorry, I think I muted myself. The 2018 minutes were passed by unanimous vote. And then copies were made available for members to review as well. The 2019 Treasurer's Report was given by Treasurer Mike Smith, and the motion to accept the Treasurer's Report as presented was made by Dan Martinkus and seconded by Cliff Cartwright. Motion passed by unanimous vote. President Gustafson gave the President's report, which included a brief review of the activities and projects that have been taking place at the museum this past year. And then I presented a slate of the officers, and I can do so now if you'd like from last year. Or, yeah. The President is Linda Gustafson, the Vice President Dan Martinkus, Secretary of Dana Fine, and the Treasurer Mike Smith. And we also had terms that expired this year. Terms for 2021 and 2022. In last year's meeting, the motion to accept the slate of officers and directors as presented and to adjourn the business meeting was made by Mike Smith and seconded by Steve Bauslov. The motion passed by unanimous vote. And last year, the BCHS Museum Curator David Bugri presented the premiere screening of Bill Lamb Films Volume 1 at the Apollo Theater. The film included selections of Bill Lamb films that have recently been digitized, with a focus on local events, street scenes, and sports. Bugri had prepared scripts, editing, and background soundtrack music for the film. The full DVD will be available for members and the public to purchase.
I wish you wouldn't have touched something.
What
I did is I touched that.
Remarks
The slider.
by President Linda Gustafson, outlining future plans and events being scheduled for the future year.
Want me to get on clear? Yeah. Go ahead. Okay.
And these minutes were respectfully submitted, or are being respectfully submitted by Dana Fine, Secretary.
Okay, are there any revisions to the minutes? Okay, if not, could we have a motion to approve the minutes of the 2019 annual meeting? Okay,
So moved.
Dana, okay, and Mike, you can be the second. All in favor, say aye.
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 And opposed, motion carries. Now, Mike Smith, the treasurer of the Bureau County Historical Society, will present the 2020 Treasurers Report.
Thanks, Linda. As far as the income for the last year, we ended up at 92,000 and our budget was 57,000. So significantly higher. Our expenses for the year came in at about 95,000 and we budgeted about 88,000. So our budgeted number for the year was that we anticipated a loss or having to use our assets to operate of around 31,000. And tonight we can tell everyone that we were very fortunate and we ended up around 2,400 negative. So a huge year for the society. Of the positive things that I'd like to bring to your attention were the contributions, several private contributions that totaled $20,000. We had in-kind donation of around 4,000, and our grant funding was huge this year, right at 16,000. So very exciting numbers. And that's all I have, Linda.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions with the financial report? Okay. If not, could we have a motion to approve the 2020 Treasurers Report?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you, Steve. And a second? Laura, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. The 2020 annual report for the Bureau County Historical Society consists of quite a few programs and activities that we had planned for all of you to enjoy, but we were unable to offer these programs due to the coronavirus, including, and here's, I didn't realize how many things we had planned for you and for us. We had a World War I trench project,
That's okay.
annual open house, hosting the
It's okay.
Princeton Chamber of Commerce, the Junior High Advisory Committee meetings, our History Club for Kids, the Illinois History presentations by members of the Princeton Friends and Council, and the Sun Foundation set of 4 family programs on pottery making, painting, blacksmithing, and collage. We were able to host our Valentine's Victorian Tea in February, and tremendous progress has been made on archiving the extensive Bill Lamb collection. We've also been writing, as you've heard, some grant applications for special projects, as the 100th year Princeton Rotary Community Grant that provided $10,000 that was used to process the earliest and most fragile of the Bill Lamb films, some of which you will be the first to ever preview tonight. Our plans for 2021 include all of the events that we had to postpone, and even more events and programs for our community members to enjoy. And David and I were just talking this afternoon, and we got another idea. So do be prepared for a lot of things to be happening. This winter, we will also begin posting on our website a variety of virtual programs for both children and adults, including this annual meeting. So if you were a friend, were not able to attend this meeting and would like to see this or see the presentation from Bill Lamb, that will be on our website for them to see and for you to see. The annual meeting that we're having right now is really a thank you to all of you for your support this year. Your donations, memberships, and volunteer hours make it possible for the Bureau County Historical Society to share the knowledge and love of our rich local history. And we do thank you all for all of your support. Now, Board Secretary Dana Fine will present the slate of officers and directors for the 2020 to 2021 term.
Thank you, Linda. The officers for the 2020-2021 term are as follows. President Linda Gustafson, Vice President Dan Martinkus, Secretary Dana Fine, Treasurer Mike Smith. The BCHS directors with terms ending in 2021 are as follows: Dana Fine, Linda Gustafson, Ryan Keitzer, and Mike Smith. BCHS directors with terms ending in 2022 are as follows: Steve Baslov, Kathy Cartwright, Carolyn Diller, Kurt Johnson, and John McCutcheon. And BCHS directors with terms ending in 2023 are as follows: Bill Bucksheim, Dana Collins, Laura Kahn, and Dan Martinkus.
Okay. Would anyone like to add their name to the list? Do we see anybody who would be interested in serving? Okay, then would there be a motion to approve the slate of officers and directors for 2020 to 21?
So moved.
Okay, and a second? Okay, Dana, thank you. All in favor say aye,
All right.
and opposed.
Aye.
Okay. I would like you to know one thing, that we have an outstanding board of directors, and they're dedicated and talented people who donate their time and energies to making the Bureau County Historical Society a successful organization that truly serves our community. So basically, this concludes the business part of our Bureau County Historical Society annual meeting. So if there is no other business to conduct, is there a motion to adjourn the business meeting?
So moved.
Okay, thank you. And a second? Steve, thank you. All in favor, say aye,
Aye.
Aye.
and opposed. Motion carries. The business meeting is adjourned. Now I would like to introduce David Gugerty, the curator of the Bureau County Historical Society. This is David's 5th year at the Historical Society, and basically he's done an amazing job.
That's amazing. That's really
Under his direction, this Historical Society has grown significantly and has become an important part of our community, reaching out to many organizations and people throughout our area. He has developed a network of active volunteers who provide significant work at archiving the Bill Lamb collection and many other important activities that support the outreach of the Historical Society from within and well beyond our local community. David has brought his extensive background of skills and talents that have greatly enhanced the success of the Bureau County Historical Society. And I would take great pleasure in introducing to you now our curator, David Gugerty. David?
Thanks a lot, Linda. So I have prepared from our latest batch of film transfers some previews to show this evening. So we have about 25 minutes of video. And each clip that we're going to see represents a film that was transferred to digital from the original 35 millimeter nitrate. And I have my prop film here, and I just want to show you guys. Open. This is 35 millimeter motion picture film.
good, David.
And-
Good. Good for you, Dave.
So each one of these cells on here runs at a rate of 24 feet per second. And this film here is approximately 400 feet. And 400 feet would get you a film that would go about 6 to 8 minutes. And so each one of the film reels that we sent away was 2,000 feet. So you can imagine a roll 5 times that size. And each one of those yields around 20 minutes of finished film. And these films from this batch are from the 1940s, and Bill was at that time filming on nitrate stock. So there are very limited access points for where you can have nitrate stock remastered. And so these ended up being sent to a company called Scene Savers in Covington, Kentucky, which is near Cincinnati. And we were able to save some of the most fragile films, and Bill Lamb had actually worried throughout his career that these films were going to disintegrate at some point, and he has logged on the film cans decade after decade where he would check on these films to make sure that they were still safe. And so eventually they are going to degrade and deteriorate to the point where they could no longer be used.
Got it off.
And so that's the greatest part about the digitization process that we're able to undergo now. So I'm going to start out with a clip from a film that was made in 1951. This is the newest film of this batch. And it consists of Bill Lamb and some friends of his from Eureka on a trip to the West Coast. So this film, which runs almost 20 minutes in total, has some amazing Americana from the early 1950s. And I guess I should mention that quite a few of these films were made at the Woodford Theater in Eureka, Illinois, where Bill lived from the time he got out of the Army in 1946 until 1951, when he came back to work at the Apollo Theater full time. So in that latter part of the 1940s, he traveled back and forth between Princeton and Eureka and did media work in both places. So I'm going to share my screen now. And you all should be able to see my video. And there it is. So once again, we'd like to thank the Princeton Rotary Club for their 100 years of service community grant. And this was a process where nonprofits all over Princeton were allowed to submit grant applications for a community project to the Princeton Rotary Club. And their committee got together and decided that the preservation of the Bill Lamb collection would be a significant gift to the Princeton community, and so they supported our Historical Society's grant application, which resulted in this batch of films that we're about to show. And finally, the full-length versions of most of these clips is going to be included on the Bill Lamb DVD Volume 2 that we are going to be putting out on December 1st. So if you're interested in getting a copy of last year's presentation, which is narrated by Nick Yazel Young from Princeton and was compiled mostly of mid-1950s to early 1960s local movies, we do have Volume 1 available, and we'll be taking orders for Volume 2 up until December 1st, and then those will be delivered in time for the holiday season. If you're interested in getting a copy of the movie, you can contact us at the museum website or museum email, and I will give you the information about how we will be delivering the new DVDs. So I'll break in between each clip and talk just a little bit more. I don't want to let this run on forever, but we have about 25 minutes of movies here. And without further ado, we'll start the trip to the West Coast.
Young man. Wow. 25 minutes worth. Mm-mm.
That's Alcatraz. Hoover Dam.
Maybe one of those guys is Bill, but I can't.
So that was our trip to the West Coast. And those characters, in case you know anybody from Eureka, are Bill Lamb, Chris Cale, Jim Adams, Ed Cale, and Harry Borrowman in August 1951. Now, this next film is a full-fledged newsreel that was created by Bill Lamb and Sam Trainer of the VCR. And this is the only film that we had restored that came with an original soundtrack. So all of the rest of the elevator music that has been added is just stuff that I've put on. And this film newsreel here actually is almost 12 minutes long overall, and I've cut it down to 4 minutes here approximately. So this tornado started in the western part of Bureau County and cut through the north part of our county through Caysbeer, and then moved on into the 5 Points area near Arlington and went on towards Cherry. So you'll see a number of county farms and a few names that you might recognize. So all of the subtitles and the music that you're going to see in this clip are part of Lamb's original work.
What? Who would have been born? That's the one though, because that was the location. I remember Sam Trainor's name, but I don't remember him. It's close to Dover, close between Casebeer and Dover.
So that was the Bureau County tornado of 1945. And like I said, that one does run quite a bit longer than that. So I edited out some of the other footage that will appear in the full version. So this is a very special movie that we found that was kind of a compilation roll of some Bureau County Fair events, which you'll see in a little bit. And one other piece that was on this reel, which isn't pictured here, which is really interesting, is Bill Lamb following the March of Time movie news crew that was actually filming newsreels, and Lamb was filming them making newsreels, which is quite an amazing piece of journalism. And sandwiched in between the making of a newsreel and some other just summertime footage is this experience at the circus at Peoria. And so apparently Lamb managed to talk his way into documenting the entire day, and you'll see everything from the setup of the tents in the morning and the unloading of the train all the way to the performances in the evening. So he spent the entire day there filming the Ringling Barnum and Bailey Circus. So this one again runs quite a bit longer than what you're going to see here, and here it goes. So that was Ringling Circus, 1949. And coming up a little bit later, we're going to see some scenes from the Bureau County Fair, 1949, with a little more local flair. But between that last movie and the film that we're about to see, Eureka Pumpkin Festival, 1947, what we're getting a sense of is the true scope of the Lamb collection, in that, last year we featured a lot of really local, Princeton High School sports and local commercials and kinds of things that are really important to Bureau County folks. And then as I've continued to dig deeper into the collection and just learn more and more about the volume of content there is, and I've talked to some other archive people in the field, what you get is a sense that the Bill Lamb collection has really got a broader scope of American history involved. And case in point, this reel that we're about to see, just in circumstance of Bill Lamb living in Eureka in the 1940s, and Eureka College most famous graduate being future President Ronald Reagan, you end up with products like this. And what the Eureka Pumpkin Festival is sponsored by the Libby Canning plant there, and they have 10,000 pumpkin pies, which you'll see at the end of this clip. And in 1947, they brought their most famous graduate, Ronald Reagan, to MC the festival. So throughout this, you'll see, and unfortunately it's silent again, so there's no conversation or no narration that we can glean from it. But you'll see Illinois Governor Dwight Green is one of the other main characters during the presentation of the speeches. So they actually, Ronald Reagan was so famous as a movie star and as an important veteran of the war at this point that he was introduced by the governor of the state of Illinois. And so this one also runs a full 20 minutes, and I've got it cut down here to just show some of the highlights of the festival. And at the very end, you'll see a cameo of the Princeton High School Band, which Bill Lamb made sure to bring to Eureka for this event. So in case you missed it at the very end, it said Princeton High School Band brought to you by Bailey Enterprises and Woodford Theater. And Woodford Theater was the place that Bill Lamb was running in Eureka at the time. So he thought so much of his hometown band that he used his Eureka connections to sponsor them into that parade. And so this one, the next film is the Jimmy Lynch Death Dodgers, which was previously known as the Jimmy Lynch Hell Drivers. And they had undergone a transformation. I guess the outfit was sold. And they did sideshows and carnival appearances throughout the Midwest in the 1940s and 50s. So this was filmed at the Bureau County Fair in August of 1949, and it was archived by Lamb on the same reel as that circus film that I showed just before. So here's the Jimmy Lynch Death Dodgers. Okay, which that brings us to our final presentation. This film is a Princeton promotional video that was shot in 1948, and it runs quite a bit longer than what you're going to see here as well. And the crux of this clip, which is really amazing to us here at the Historical Society, is one of the features of Princeton in 1948 was a brand new historical museum located in the Clark Norris House on the Courthouse Square. So about halfway through this clip, you will see one of our museum's founders bring the camera crew into the house, and he'll be showing off some of the brand new museum exhibits that were just created in 1948. All righty. Well, that concludes the City of Elms clip. And I would like to thank you all for joining us. And I know there's not a real good opportunity for two-way communication with this many folks in the group, but I am happy to answer any questions that you might have. You can send them to me by email or just give a call to the museum Wednesday through Saturday, 11 to 5. I'm here, and I'd be happy to discuss any of the archival notes or more information about the clips that we've seen here. And I would be happy to speak to anyone. And before I close out, I'd like to once again thank the Rotary Club of Princeton for their generous support of this project and the Bill Lamb Archive. And I would also like to especially thank our museum volunteers who have stuck with me throughout the summer and all the ups and downs of 2020. It's been great to have folks coming in, and our volunteers have contributed since 2017 thousands of hours in the Bill Lamb Archive. All of these boxes that you see behind me are Bill Lamb's work, and we have sought to organize and scan approximately 10,000 of these drugstore envelopes. And we're just now beginning on the individual film negatives, which number in the 80 to 90,000 range. And we have scanned and are now available 6,000 8x10 Bill Lamb print images. So the archive catalog can be viewed in database form. Not all the images are published. But if anyone is interested in looking for subject specific, they're all organized in subject files. So I can send you the list of all of the topics, and then we can dig more specifically into all of the individual images that are available under any given subject. But we have been working towards the goal of having the Bill Lamb collection organized to a point where it's accessible for the archive visitors and library users. And we've really gotten to the point now where if someone comes to visit and they're searching for images, we're able to locate them in the catalog, locate them either physically or now that all the work has been done for scanning them into the computer. That means number one, they're more accessible and easily transferred to people to use. And number two, they're physically safe. The original archived films and negatives no longer have to be handled. And that's one of the major points of a digitization project like what we've been working on here. So obviously the photographs are a lot more numerous than the motion picture collection. We are probably 2/3 of the way through scanning the usable motion pictures. So there will be movie projects continuing, and there's a lot more material that has been archived that has not been presented in this format or last year. But you will notice that the two DVDs, Volume 1 and Volume 2, are quite a bit different. Volume 2 will be a lot longer than the original production from last year, but it's going to be a lot more raw material because of each one of these films running 20 minutes. It's harder for me to edit and finish each one of those. So it's going to be presented more in its archival form. And I should also mention that the Eureka Pumpkin Festival 1947 is not going to be on the DVD because we're saving that project for a standalone production where we can dig a little bit deeper with the folks at Woodford County Historical Society and other places and try to get as much info as we can to present with that more of like a documentary. So we're hoping to maybe even recover some sound because there are various recordings and radio broadcasts that are associated with that as well. And if not that, then more news coverage of the event will give us more information and we'll be able to translate and present that in a more finished fashion that I guess recognizes the importance of that particular piece with President Reagan in it. So with that, I will close and wish you all a happy holiday season in 2020. And thank you again for joining us and for all of your generous contributions as members and your support as volunteers. And I hope you have a great rest of your 2020. Thanks for being with us.
I would like to give David a round of applause for the beautiful job that he did. Thank you. You did a great job. Thank you very much. Okay, and that concludes our meeting. And thank you for attending. And look forward to next year. We have many things planned. And we hope that you will be able to have you come and see us and celebrate the rich history of our area. Thank you.
Great job, David.
Thank you.
Very
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.